Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm Governor John Carney. We're here today to sign House Bill number 65, an important piece of legislation just recently passed by the Delaware General Assembly. We're joined this morning by Senator Jack Walsh, representing the Senate, Representative Ed Osinski, the sponsor of House Bill 65, over obviously in the House side. We're also joined by our new Secretary of the Department of Labor, Carol Hubbard. Welcome, Carol. I think one of the first public events as our new secretary. We welcome you to the position. And of course, years and years of effective public service across Delaware state government. Thanks for joining us today. And of course, Darrell Scott, who's with us, the Director of Unemployment here in our state. At a time, I think, unprecedented in our state's history with respect to the number of filings and the interaction with the public. Darrell, thanks for the great work that you're doing and the work of your team under really difficult circumstances. Again, thanks to Representative Osinski and Senator Walsh and their colleagues in the House and the Senate for consideration of this really important piece of legislation as it relates to and affects workers in our state and small businesses across Delaware. Since the onset of COVID-19 almost a year ago now, a big focus of ours has been to protect small businesses, particularly those most affected by COVID-19 shutdowns, as well as their employees and workers across our state. So many workers out of work as a result of COVID-19 and those shutdowns. Fortunately, we had hundreds of millions of dollars from the federal government through the CARES Act, Federal CARES Act funding, and thanks to our congressional delegation, Senator Carper, Senator Coons, and Representative Blunt Rochester for their support of those resources. We've used over several $100 million of those to protect small businesses from increases in their unemployment insurance tax that otherwise would have been necessary because of the experience and the depletion of the unemployment insurance fund. And now today with House Bill 65 to protect workers from being taxed by those unemployment insurance benefits. And so that's what we're at today at a very high level. I'm going to ask Secretary Hubbard and Darrell Scott to talk a little bit more about our experience with unemployment, maybe some of the details with House Bill 65 and legislation passed last spring, again, to protect small businesses from tax increases. And then we'll turn it over to our legislative leaders and sponsors who've joined us today as well. So thank you for joining us. Secretary Hubbard.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Governor. I would like to take a moment to thank you, Representative Osinski and Senator Walsh, for working so quickly to enact legislation that provides this crucial support for Delawareans and small business owners and provides the flexibility to our agency in responding to this unprecedented pandemic. Specifically, this bill allows thousands of claimants to continue to receive unemployment benefits by allowing us certain modifications to existing law so that we can be responsive to the changing conditions in Washington and to the additional benefits that have been provided by the federal government. It also provides some relief to small employers who would have faced tax increases based on the number of claims filed during this pandemic. So I'll ask Darrell, Director Scott, to respond to the specific numbers, but we are so grateful for the flexibility we've been afforded to be able to get benefits out to our citizens quickly and effectively.
Thank you very much, Secretary Hubbard. Director Scott.
Thank you, Governor. As you spoke about in your introduction, this is unprecedented times for our state. To give people a little perspective, in the first 4 weeks after the state emergency was called, we received 62,000 claims for unemployment benefits. We received 32,000 in 2019, and before the end of 2020, we'd received 175,000 claims for unemployment benefits. So truly unprecedented for the workers of the state of Delaware and the impact this pandemic has had on our families and friends and neighbors in the state. To give you a little more perspective, last year in 2019, we paid $63 million in benefits, and we approached $1 billion in 2020. And so the legislation that's before us, I think, provides real, financial assistance at a time when families are continuing to struggle to manage through this pandemic. And again, we're extremely appreciative of the support of the General Assembly, the administration, as we've managed through this. And as Governor, as you mentioned, I'd be remiss if I didn't, call out, we were a small team of 84 people. We peaked at more than 220 as we respond to this crisis. And it's the people that stand behind me each and every day that are making a difference in the lives of Delawareans as we manage through this. So thank you very much for this legislation and the support that we at the division have received throughout this crisis.
Thank you very much, Darrell, for your work and the work of your people. This incredible year of COVID-19 pandemic, the unemployment that spiked, as you say, the support that was provided through unemployment payments to tens of thousands of Delaware workers. And so we've spent hundreds of millions of dollars of CARES Act funding, again, to provide support for workers and families and to provide tax relief for small businesses and assistance for small business separate from the relief provided by House Bill 65 and the legislation passed last spring to protect small businesses from what otherwise would have been a tax increase. You can't do any of this, we in the executive branch, without legislative support. We get incredible legislative support from the two gentlemen who've joined us today. Representative Osinski in the House, the sponsor of House Bill number 65, as well as Jack Walsh, the sponsor in the Senate of House Bill 65. Thank you, gentlemen, for your support and help. I'll turn it over to you, Representative Osinski, for your comments.
Thank you, Governor. Secretary Hubbard, Senator Walsh, Director Scott, and I all serve on the Unemployment Insurance Advisory Council. And back in December, when we did our review, we realized that 100,000 Delawareans who could not withhold Delaware tax from their weekly benefits would be receiving a tax bill for all the 2020 benefits they received due to the loss of their jobs from the pandemic. So the council unanimously supported the legislation. Exempting unemployment benefits from the state taxes would keep approximately $21 million in the hands of more than the 100,000 Delawareans who filed for unemployment last year, allowing them additional money to pay for their rent, utilities, and buy groceries. So I am happy that we had the complete support of the Advisory Council and you, Governor, and your administration. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative Osinski. Thank you and your colleagues in the House for the support of this legislation and, frankly, the support of your constituents and workers across our state. Senator Walsh.
Thank you, Governor. First of all, as Representative Osinski stated, I'd like to thank all the members of the Unemployment Advisory Council for unanimously bringing this most needed legislation to the forefront. I'd also like to thank Representative Osinski for leading this legislation through the House side, and to you, Governor, for signing this so quickly. House Bill 65, this will help individuals, families, and businesses during this most unprecedented time. It contains many tax relief provisions for Delaware taxpayers and small businesses alike. First and foremost, though, it will save Delawareans, as Representative Osinski stated, $21 million this year by subtracting all unemployment benefits received in calendar year 2020 from the federal adjusted gross income, which is used to calculate your state personal income taxes. Second, it freezes employer assessment rates at the 2020 levels, saving thousands of businesses from sudden rises in their own obligations. These kinds of straightforward relief measures are exactly what we need right now. Too many Delawareans are looking down the barrel of an incredibly difficult tax year, and they definitely need our help. This two-pronged approach extends a lifeline to the most vulnerable workers and businesses, and I'm incredibly proud to have been a sponsor of this bill this year, along with my colleague, Representative Ed Osinski.
Thank you very much, Senator Walsh, and thank you to your colleagues in the Senate for acting so quickly. You're exactly right. This is tax time here in our state and across the country, and this tax relief, comes at a really important time. And again, just to reemphasize our focus, which has been since the beginning, to protect workers as they experience unemployment, the loss of a job, hopefully periodic, just for a short period of time, as well as support for all our businesses, particularly small businesses through this pandemic. We've utilized almost $1 billion of resources that we received through CARES Act funding from the federal government to support our small businesses and workers across our state. This bill, House Bill 65, will enable us to continue with that support at a time that's needed. Thank you to all the folks at the Department of Labor for really leaning into this. Darryl, to you and your team, and Carol, for everybody at the Department of Labor. We're not out of this yet. There is light at the end of the tunnel. As folks know, our post-holiday surge in cases has leveled off, and we're getting healthier by the day. Vaccines, COVID-19 vaccines, have arrived. We've vaccinated over 1,000 Delawareans so far, the most vulnerable, our frontline healthcare workers, law enforcement, and paramedics, other frontline workers as well, and thousands of Delawareans 65 years old and older, and we'll continue to lead into that effort with additional supplies that we hope to get, additional vaccines from the federal government. So at this point, it's a privilege for me as governor to take this good work over the goal line after the Super Bowl of yesterday. I guess it's an apt reference here. House Bill number 65, sponsored by Representative Osinski in the House, Senator Walsh in the Senate, and supported by members of both chambers. Thank you very much. This is needed tax relief for small businesses and for workers across the state of Delaware.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
Governor.